let me know if you loved it because you do you. Hello to all of you beautiful, what are we talking here now? Birthing, postpartum, somebody just looking to buy a gift for somebody else, wonderful internet people. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Elizabeth, also known as Nurse Zabe, here on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and I am a labor and delivery nurse, certified childbirth educator, and mama to 3. So today's video is going to be one that has kind of been around in my head for quite a while. It is going to be the top 10, honestly, plus things that I personally bought for my babies, for my breastfeeding, for my postpartum experience that did not work for me. Caveat and disclaimer. Just because they didn't work for me doesn't mean that they won't work for you. If they are your favorites, definitely let me know. Let me know how that they worked for you in the comments down below. And if you have anything that you want to add to this list, let me know. So these are all things that I have personally owned that I either bought for myself, that I registered for, or that somebody gave me. Maybe not off a registry, but just something that they gave me. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. And if you want a more general video on things that I don't think that you should buy, mostly because either they don't work or they are strategically unsafe, then I will link that video for you guys in an iCard because that is a video that I have already made. But these are things that I actually have bought or registered for, wasted my own money on, and I'm trying to save you the same thing. Now, when I get into more specifics, I will let you know why they didn't work for me so that you can kind of judge for yourself if you think that they will work for you. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. We're gonna start with like smaller items first to kind of save the big heavy purchases for last. And for things that I don't have, I will have videos of me using the other things or pictures. And also, if I have an alternative, I will go ahead and bring those to you guys as well. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the Munch Mitt. It is a teething device. Mine is currently covered in all sorts of hair because it does have Velcro. So if you have animals or you're a hairy person, Velcro will attract that and get stuck in it. But this guy, basically what you do is you take your little baby's hand and you put the mitt on and then they munch on it, right? It seems like it would make so much sense in theory. In theory it works, but here's the issue. Newborns, smaller babies have a reflex. It's called the grasp reflex. If you touch right here, they're gonna grasp you. That's why, oh, she's holding my finger. That's also why it's almost impossible to get handprints of babies, to have them have their hand like this. So really what you're gonna have is a baby who's like upset, grumpy, and then you're trying to shove their whole fist in here into a place where really I feel like they want the hand not to be furled up because the fist does not fit very well in here to chew on. And then they're gonna be angrily trying to get this off of their hand and not chewing on it. So I like it in theory. I love teethers. That actually has been one of my favorite things this pregnancy with this baby, particularly because she was tongue-tied. We were helping retrain her tongue. But skip this and try some of these. So this is a really great teether if they're able to hold on to things. A ball can be really fun because they'll stick their tongue through the ball. And then if you want something that is kind of more attached to their hand, this mushroom teether by Mom Bella is great. So you flip it up, baby will use their grasp reflex, and then this goes back down over their hands. They've got something to munch on. So I would skip the Munch Mitt. I bought one with Holden and then somebody gave me that one with Rosie, but definitely not my favorite. Speaking of small devices that were given to me for Holden, this was also on my you don't need to buy this list, but I'm gonna put it here as well. It's the pptp. It's basically a little piece of cloth that you would put over your son's penis when you are changing the diaper to make them not pee on you. This is silly and an extra thing that you're not gonna need or want to use at 2 in the morning. I'm gonna give you a tip on how you can avoid having your baby pee on you. Because, also pro tip, little girls and little boys will both pee on you. Boys, it'll hit you in the face, and little girls, it'll just get all over whatever surface you're changing them on, which at 3 in the morning might be your bed, and it might be without a changing mat because it's your third baby and you just, whew, it's a lot. So if you take a cold wet wipe and rub their belly right above the diaper before you change the diaper, that'll give them that same sort of cool sensation that opening the diaper does. And so if they need to pee, they'll go ahead and pee before you open the diaper. That's my pro tip for you. So you can skip the pptp, it is not necessary. Next thing that I want to talk on, I do not actually have anymore because I threw them away because I thought that they got super gross. And it is mesh feeding teethers. So these can be great to put frozen fruit, frozen breast milk, anything when baby needs something cold on their teeth. But the thing that I don't like about this is that they're mesh. And so I just feel like they're really hard to get clean. They can get really stinky and I don't love it. I actually really like the silicone teethers. So these are by Boone. They're dishwasher safe. All of the same benefits of having something cold that baby can teeth on in here and get a little bit of flavor without the nastiness that is that mesh needing to be cleaned. So moving on, something that I bought with my first daughter because she had an uneven head shape was a head pillow that has a hole in the middle that she would kind of fit down into. Now, I was not using this obviously unsupervised. This would only be used when she was awake and doing time on the floor. But I don't really have any evidence to show that they work. If your baby has a flat spot on one side of their head and not the other, or a really big flat spot in the back, we need to be addressing the root cause of this. Now, does baby have some issues with tight muscles or torticollis? Is baby not getting enough tummy time, or maybe they're really not enjoying tummy time? And so I think exploring these avenues of, hey, why is there this flat spot versus, hey, this pillow might help, is going to be more beneficial. So you might work with a chiropractor, a pediatric PT or OT, and your pediatrician to help alleviate whatever is causing the flat spot, or maybe even needing a helmet to fix versus the pillow. And because they're not safe for sleep and the majority of time that baby is spending on their back is when they're asleep, you're not really gonna get a lot of bang for your buck with that particular purchase. Another one that is just not safe because it's not really safe for safe sleep is a mobile. So a beautiful mobile over the crib, and what I'm talking about are the ones that hang off of the crib. Now, if you have something hanging from the ceiling, as long as it's at a level where baby can never reach it, it is perfectly safe. But the ones that are hanging off of the crib, because as babies learn how to stand and pull up, they can pull it off onto themselves, they can pull it down. It's not going to be something that you are able to use for a super long period of time, and it's something that I personally wish that I had skipped. I bought one with Holden, and the one that I bought played a really creepy song, so it was not my favorite for sure. Instead, what I like for sound and for light is the Hatch system. This is great because it attaches to your phone through Bluetooth, and you can either get it with or without a clock. And then it's great for when you have a toddler. It's going to transition and you're going to be able to get a lot more use out of it because you can use it as like an okay to wake clock. So that would be definitely what I would use instead of a mobile or something that hangs from the ceiling that is a safe distance from baby, because we always want to be thinking, okay, if my baby got this, what could my baby do? Because your baby will get it. They are little baby Houdinis. So speaking of safe sleep and moving on to some larger things literally that I want to talk about baby swings. So we registered for a baby swing that had a huge, large profile, and it didn't fold down good for storage either. And I really, really regret that. First of all, I'm not a big fan of baby swings because, again, they're not approved for safe sleep for infants. And it's like, then what is the point, right? They're really marketed that you would let baby sleep in it, but if you know the research, we know that that elevated position can cause positional asphyxia where baby's not able to breathe, and they're not really approved or useful for safe sleep. And so then what are you using it for? But also, the one that I had such a large profile that whatever room it was in, it took up a ginormous amount of space. So if you are looking for a baby swing, first I would recommend buying one used off of Facebook Marketplace or something like that. And then two, I would recommend getting one with a smaller profile. Definitely not one of my favorite things, and we registered for it, we asked for it, so that's totally on us. The next big ticket item that I want to talk about is one that I bought myself. I bought it myself for Rosie, and I don't think that this product is necessarily bad, but it was bad for me and my mental health. So I, with this pregnancy, purchased a scale that was on clearance at Target. It was half off, but still super expensive, made by Hatch. And it was an infant changing table scale. I really like the profile for a changing table, but I also don't really use a changing table very much. So I bought it for the scale purposes because with Holden, he had so much issues with weight gain that I thought this will be perfect. And the Hatch scale allows you to input all sorts of data through the app on your phone, and it allows you to do weighted feeds as well as just regular weights. Here was my problem. And again, this is a me problem. In the height of my postpartum anxiety and depression, that all centered around Rosie's inability to nurse super well related to tongue and lip ties, I was trying to do a weighted feed for every single feed of the day. And what you need to know about weighted feeds is that when you're breastfeeding, unlike when you're formula feeding, your baby's not going to take this same amount every single time. I mean, formula babies don't really either, but you make the same bottles typically every single time, especially in the beginning. And so your baby's overall goal for the day might be 24 ounces, but they're going to be taking maybe like a 5 ounce here and a 2 ounce here and then a little half an ounce snack right here, and that's okay. But I would beat myself up. I would feel horrible and miserable and bad and try to keep latching a baby who did not want to eat anymore if she didn't eat 3 ounces with every single feed. Also, half the time she's nursing to sleep, so then I'm having to wake her up to reweigh her. It just was not good for my mental health at all. And I knew buying it that probably was going to be the case, but I could not stop myself because it was on sale at Target. So for that reason, and also for the reason that with doing weights like that, ounces matter, small amounts matter, I think you really need more of a hospital grade scale and doing it under the guide of a lactation consultant to be doing weighted feeds. So it was not a good thing for me. I will say maybe if you wanted to weigh the baby once a week on that scale, that could be beneficial. But again, for the price, for the other things that it just wasn't a good fit for me. And retrospectively, I realize now that it really compounded and made my anxiety so much worse if I thought we had a good feed and then per that scale, we didn't have a good feed. And also she was gaining weight. So calm down, Elizabeth, calm down. So the next thing I want to talk about is something that I registered for, something that I dreamed and just thought was the most beautiful thing. I registered for it with May, and it was this beautiful diaper bag, these pastels, these colors, these stripes, very 2013, very French, very chic, except for it was a crossbody diaper bag. And there is nothing that is more uncomfortable when you are holding a baby, when you are baby wearing, when you are trying to wrestle a car seat, than having something else that's putting weight just on one side. I much, much, much prefer a diaper bag that is a backpack. So from there, I want to talk a little bit about breastfeeding and some things that did not work for me personally with breastfeeding. Again, with the caveat that these might have worked great for you, and these come highly recommended for a lot of people. The first thing that I do not love for breastfeeding for me, because personally I found it uncomfortable and I also didn't find it to work super well, was the Hakka. I know, I thought the suction was too much, and as someone who's not really a leaker, it did not get very much milk out of me for how uncomfortable and painful it was. And my baby would kick or punch or push it off. Not my favorite. What I did use with this pregnancy, and I think was better for me because it was more gentle and it fit inside my bra, is the LV Curve. And so this one, it's the same sort of suction, but then sits inside your bra. Again, I'm not a huge leaker, so I didn't get a ton of milk with this, but you have to be careful with the Hakka or with any product like this where you're applying suction, because it is, while passive, pulling out milk, and it can lead to an oversupply. So I just used this to catch any extra, and I gave that to Rosie in a dental syringe. But yeah, the Hakka, not my fave, not for me. And I'm not saying you shouldn't get it, but just know that there are alternatives to the Hakka. Now, when we're talking about pumping, I'm gonna put one in here that is a wee bit controversial. And I hate to even say it, but I'm saying it because I want you to know this is a really, really expensive item that people are so excited about. And then when it doesn't work for them, it can be truly devastating. The Willow Gen 3. The suction pattern's different from the Gen 2. I had the Gen 2 with Holden, and that one would work for me at work in a pinch. This one, I'm not exactly sure what happened or what it was, but it tore up my nipples. Now I found out later that I was using the wrong size flange, so I got the right size flange, waited for my nipples to heal, and then kind of got to the point where with the Willow, a lot of people really have to do a lot of work with it to get it to work for them, to get their body to respond to it. And since I was only gonna be working 1 day a week and Rosie was latching, I just didn't feel like putting in the work. Maybe that makes me lazy. Maybe that just makes me practical. I just like my Spectra pump, okay? I just love my beautiful Spectra with my Bogen cushions. It is my go-to ride or die. I need a lot of hands-on massage to help my breasts empty. I have my Lilu massage pumping bra, which is great. You can't use hands-on massage or the Lilu bra with this because of how it latches onto the breast like a baby. So if you're able to, and I know this isn't always the case, see if you can try one of these out from a friend before buying it. My insurance paid for mine completely, so I don't feel bad about having bought it. It can be a really awesome pump for preserving a breastfeeding experience if you have no time at work to pump. But for me personally, that wasn't what was going on, and just with the way that it was feeling with my nipples, it was adding extra stress to try and get this to work than it was alleviating stress from my life. So the Willow for me is not it, I'm sorry to say. And the last two that I want to talk about are related to baths. One of them we received as a baby shower gift. I'm not sure that we registered for it. It was a plush daisy looking pillow that fit in your sink to bathe your baby. I'm going to say something that might be a bit controversial. I think bathing babies in your kitchen sink is kind of gross. I know, I'm sorry. I love the aesthetic. If you've got this beautiful like porcelain sink and then you put some fruit and maybe some breast milk and you're taking photos, I love it, I love it, I love it. Do you know how nasty sinks are? Do you know what kind of bacteria live in sinks because of the raw meat and vegetables and everything else that gets washed into those sinks? This is why if you're gonna be washing your pump parts, do not put them directly in the sink. Why are we gonna put our babies directly in the sink? You can clean and scrub and do your thing, but I don't know, it makes me a little nervous. My favorite bathtub is the Angel Care bathtub. I think I talked about this in my top ones to buy because it's so easy. It fits right in your tub and it'll dry off in between uses really easily, which is another thing. This pillow would not get dry, and so now I'm like, mildew mold is growing in this, and the chicken germs and my baby in the sink. I also didn't have a cute sink, so maybe that was part of it as well. And I had a garbage disposal. Oh my goodness, that could have been a disaster. So not my fave for us, not my fave for you as far as cleanliness purposes, but you let me know if you loved it because you do you. And then the other thing I want to talk about is bath toys. Let me tell you what is so nasty. You're bathing your baby. You guys are having so much fun. You're using some of those little bath toys you can fill up with the water and then you squirt at them and they're like, ah! And then the water's black that's coming out. And you realize with horror and shock on your face that you have been spraying mildew mold water in your baby's face. Bath toys are gross. Bath toys are nasty. Don't get any with holes that can have water go in them. Why do they make them? I don't know, because they are gross and nasty. I guess you could like afterwards rinse them in like a vinegar or bleach solution, but I still, if you can't see what's inside, I vote skip it. We have right now letters that are like a foam material that Rosie likes to play with, just little splashes in the tub, and honestly, playing with her brothers and sisters in the bathtub. So I would skip those bath toys because they are gross. So yeah, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think. Definitely leave things that you would skip down below. Let's all learn from each other. And if you like some of these items, let people know down below too. Let's not get grumpy, let's not get aggressive, but let's share our knowledge so that we can all make the choices that work the best for us. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.